Wallahi, number one, akhi, it makes me happy to see that people want to go out and study and seek the religion. It makes me happy to see my generation has this acceptance. They're waking up and they're saying, yo, we want to learn the religion. And they're following the footsteps of the ulama and the salaf and the sahaba by actually leaving their homes, the comfort of their homes, and going out and studying. ولكن
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu, my brothers and my sisters. Alhamdulillah, your boys out here enjoying the sun. You guys are probably so confused. I'm actually out here in Turkey. I might show some clips and some videos of the beautiful scenery that I'm enjoying, alhamdulillah. I'm on my way back to Cairo, spending some time out here. I recently got married, so alhamdulillah, we're spending time in Turkey before making our transit back to Cairo, alhamdulillah. Yeah, so that's probably, that's the main reasons why we haven't been uploading. So you guys are probably excited about seeing this episode. Alhamdulillah, guys. I know last time we kind of, did y'all dirty in the way that we kind of went abrupt, MIA, as you would say. So I'm trying to do my part so I don't get a rerun of all the DMs that we got last time. At least give you guys an explanation in the beginning of this episode, so it kind of helps. Yeah, so guys, alhamdulillah, Abdi and I hope to continue doing our season, inshallah, but at the same time, that's what I said to myself last year, and qadar of Allah, things didn't work out. And guys, as we all know, life happens online and other things happen and things pop up. Talking Haq is very much our priority. We want to share our journey. We want to share other people's insights, and this platform has been a means of so much khair that I've seen, alhamdulillah, so much benefit. And alhamdulillah, I really pray that it continues to be that. But as you know, we have other ambitions as well. I want to learn Arabic. I want to learn Quran. I want to learn, my deen more. And I know that's an ambition and hope for many of you guys as well. And for those who are interested in that, those who have been DMing me about, life in Egypt and, how to go about it, this episode is really a response to all of your questions, bi'idhnillah. We had Ustadh Abdullahi for the part 2 episode today, in which he discusses, subhanAllah, his journey in terms of how he went to Egypt not knowing anybody, how he had to, survive and navigate, and the mistakes that he saw many students run into, the obstacles other students, many of them faced, many obstacles I've seen students face, and the struggles I've experienced. Kind of shedding light on the reality of what it's like to study in Egypt. I know many people are posting on TikTok of studying, and that's making a lot of students excited, which is amazing. But we want to contextualize the whole experience so students are not put off once they get there. So this is like the survival guide kind of, and the reality of life and studying in Egypt. And alhamdulillah, I'm hoping that once I get out there, once I get to Egypt, inshallah, I can continue to benefit where I can. Whatever that may look like, inshallah, you guys will see. Abdi and I are hoping to do something remotely, and also hopefully interview some of the brothers in Egypt, inshallah. I've come across some amazing brothers who are, mashallah, very knowledgeable and have rich experiences and wisdoms that I think you guys all will benefit. So stay tuned for that, bi'idhnillah. But guys, it will take time. My wife and I are traveling back to Cairo. We have to look for an apartment. We have to furnish that apartment. I have to set up the studio. That takes time. I'm hoping, I don't want to give a timeline on it, but I want to say 1 to 2 months. But at the end of the day, guys, everything in qadr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, things pop up. But at some point, inshallah, we will resume. With that being said, I hope you guys really do enjoy this podcast episode with our amazing brother, Ustadh Abdullahi. You guys will benefit immensely. So inshallah, you guys go ahead and tap in. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And welcome back to another episode of Talk Ya Haq, the podcast where we discuss those relevant truths impacting us as Muslim youth. I'm your host, Idris. And today we have Ustadh Abdullahi.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
How are you, Sheikh?
Alhamdulillah, looking fly with the all brown.
Oh, subhanAllah.
MashaAllah.
SubhanAllah.
There's not a day when I catch you, you're not looking fly.
I mean, I try my best.
MashaAllah.
Allah yabarak fik. Jazakumullah khair.
For sure. SubhanAllah, we had the part 2 or the part 1 episode. And we did have some technical difficulties.
Yes.
That episode went on for like an hour 30.
Yes.
And we condensed it into about an hour.
Yeah.
And Alhamdulillah, we use that first part of the episode to really get to know you, your story, your background. And I'm glad we did, bro, because,
Alhamdulillah,
we need to give both these episodes their own time.
their haq.
Talk your haq. Come on. So, Alhamdulillah, for those who didn't watch the part 1 episode, we really went into Ustadh Abdullahi's story, his journey with, his motive behind seeking knowledge. You talked about being frustrated, being in the masjid and, being told that, oh, this is from the sunnah and this is what we're supposed to do, but not being able to access that evidence.
Not knowing. Yeah.
And mashallah, you embark on the path towards knowing, towards ilm, knowledge. Allahumma barik. It's amazing that you've done that. You dedicated that. For 5 years, close to 5 years, Ustadh Abdullahi was in Egypt studying out there. And this episode, for you guys wondering what you guys are expecting to get out of this episode, is to really understand kind of your journey, but also the mistakes that you found, maybe that you've made, but also you've seen many make.
Yeah.
And how they can overcome those obstacles. Exactly. So, bro, we're just going to go straight into it, inshallah. My first question for you.
Yeah.
I remember you talked about being Abu Bakr Masjid.
Yeah.
And there was a brother that, you guys were making dua that he's going to go study.
Yeah.
And then you said, wait a second, you can do that? You can go in Egypt and, learn your religion. And you said, wow, okay, so that opened a door for you.
It did.
So I want to talk about that point when you made that decision. What were you hoping to get out of Egypt?
Wallahi, like I said last time, I don't know if it was in the video, but I still had that goal, which was if I'm going to follow this religion, I have to understand the book Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent us. And if I'm going to go upon this or go on this journey, I need to understand or learn the language of this Quran. And so my ultimate goal, and it still is to understand the Quran. And so I wanted to go over there and learn. But before I went there, I slowly started to realize that the Quran is the asl, the foundation of this religion. And in order for you to be a real Muslim, you have to learn how to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and then you learn there's a whole science called fiqh, right? If you want to understand the sunnah, there's a whole science called ulum al-hadith. And I'm hearing these books and I'm hearing these sciences and I'm hearing the ulama that specialize in these sciences, and I keep trying to say, okay, this all stems from the Quran. This all stems from the Quran, because at the end of the day, if it's not from the Quran or connected to the Quran or the Sunnah, it's not from the religion, right? You also have ijma' and you also have qiyas, which is also still connected to the Quran and the Sunnah in some way, Right. And so what was going through my head was, Alhamdulillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made a way for me. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decreed that I pray Taraweeh here tonight. So I can hear this. Funny thing is, the brother that left, we became roommates.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
What are the odds?
What are the odds? And once he left Egypt, I was the one that took his room.
Wow.
So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if he wants, or the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he says, Man yuridu Allah bihi khayran yufaqihu fi din. Whoever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants khair for, he gives them understanding of this religion. And I'm not saying that I know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants khair for me, but what I'm trying to say is, if you embark on this journey with the right intention, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make ways for you.
Right. So you had that intention. And I think that's the number one thing that you even emphasize every time we sit down, talking about the intention and the barakah of the person who seeks knowledge. And so, I think, we talked off the podcast a little bit about this, kind of the glamorization of Egypt now. Yeah. And which is like, we see that a lot. Yeah. And, I can see where that could be benefit, but also I can see where that can be,
misleading.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So can you go a little bit into that? Like, how do you feel about this new wave of, a lot of students wanting to study in Egypt?
Yeah.
Right.
Wallahi, number one, akhi, it makes me happy to see that people want to go out and study and seek the religion. It makes me happy to see my generation has this acceptance. They're waking up and they're saying, yo, we want to learn the religion. And they're following the footsteps of the ulama and the salaf and the sahaba by actually leaving their homes, the comfort of their homes, and going out and studying. ولكن they go to Egypt and they have a some type of image, or they have this perspective of this is what Egypt is supposed to be, and this is what I'm gonna get from Egypt. And once they don't see that you can say demotivates them. Their motivation is gone out of the window. They have no hope. They don't want to do this anymore. And I see brothers just go back within 3 months, 5 months, because this is not what they signed up for. And the reason being is videos that they see online that glamorizes that life, that shows people, hey, when you come to Egypt, you'll do this and you go here and we're doing this and we're doing that. That's not. It's true, but it does more damage than good.
Right.
Because if we really talk about the reality of Egypt, the reality of Egypt.
The reality of Egypt. Can you go into that? What do they need to hear? We have expectations of. I remember I was in Egypt and one guy from the UK said, I swear I was shocked. He said, I thought Egypt was gonna be like Dubai. I said, who told you Egypt was gonna be like Dubai? He said, Arab country, you see Dubai. And that's the extreme side of it. I think the other side of it is they think, maybe they don't admit it, but they're expecting more of maybe it's the expectations that are not known. Like, for example, you come from the West, you come from America, you come from the UK, you come from these countries, and then you go to a country like Egypt where certain privileges are not universal in every place. And it catches people off guard.
It does.
It takes them away from their study.
And
you've seen this from a lot of people.
Well, it happened to me, Sheikh. It happened to me. When I was leaving in America, I was thinking to myself, how bad can Egypt be? I've been to Somalia, lived in Somalia for 3 years. I can live that life, right? The way of life was easy, but the way that you study in Egypt is different. That's something no one can explain to you. When we say you have to seek this knowledge, like you have to go out and seek it. You have to leave your room, you leave your house, you have to make phone calls, you have to network, you have to talk to people, and you actually have to seek this knowledge.
It's not just going to come to you.
It's not coming to you, right? Other places, you go to a mahdara, you go to a jami'ah, you go to the masjid, you go everywhere, and you have hilaqul ilm, and you have this. But in Egypt, you have to seek, you have to go out of your way to find what you want. Right? When I went to Egypt, Sheikh, like I was telling you, I landed July 1st, 2018, 10 a.m. I was very excited. I really, really, really wanted this to happen. I was by myself. I didn't know anyone in Egypt. And I stood in front of the airport, Akhi, because I was in Dubai for 2 weeks, right? Stood in front of the airport. I did not know where I was going to go. I didn't have a place to sleep. I didn't have a room. I didn't have somebody picking me up from the airport. And the reason being is I was so excited that I couldn't find anybody in Egypt to help me. But that didn't stop me from going. Right? You know how other people, you can call someone, you have a brother that knows a brother, you have a friend that knows a friend, you have someone that can help you, you have a family member there. I didn't have any family members. I didn't have anybody that I knew that was there. I didn't have somebody to pick me up from the airport, nothing. And so I had to make my way, and that didn't stop me because of this, I call it an itch, but I need the love that I had of, this is an opportunity that I have, and inshallah, I will do the best that I can to take, to do this. So I stood in front of the airport, or I was standing outside the airport, Akhi, and I'm over here. T-Mobile has 2GB.
Oh, yep.
Right?
Yeah.
Doesn't do anything.
Right.
But it saves you, though.
Exactly. That last couple gigabytes.
Yeah, right. So you can make calls, but you really can't do a lot of things with it,
Facts,
it just gives you enough to survive. I made calls, I sent messages. Alhamdulillah, I got a number of one of the prominent sheikhs in Egypt, and so I got his son's number. Wow. And keep in mind, his son doesn't know English. I don't know Arabic.
Wow.
And I had the funniest conversation with the sheikh.
Yeah.
I'm trying to tell him,
right,
this is what I want, right? I'm trying to tell him my name's Abdullahi.
Hey.
I'm from America. I'm in Egypt.
Hey.
I want to study under your father, and I'm at the airport. Can you help me? That's my message to the guy.
He was being ambitious with all those,
right? Sheikh, when I tell you, I'm at the airport and I'm trying to tell him, yo, أنا في المطار. أنا في المطار. I kept on saying, أنا مطر.
I'm brave. He's like, what kind of?
Yeah, he's
this poet is some shit right here.
He's laughing, and I'm like, why are you laughing? أنا مطر. And he's correcting me.
Right.
Yeah, مطار يعني مطار.
Okay, so he knew.
Yeah, so you know, I was like, yo, مطر, same. You know what I'm saying? So I start speaking a little bit of English. I'm like, yo, I'm at the airport.
Right.
I want to study. I'm from America. Somehow, some way, he understood me. Allahu A'lam, right?
Right.
But he told me until there. I waited. He said, wait. So I waited for a while. And out of nowhere, an Egyptian man just walked up to me and said, Abdullah. I said, yes. He grabbed my bags and he said, follow me.
Yeah.
I'm for the journey.
You just said, let's go.
Let's go.
You knew my name.
Hey, you know my name? That's enough for me. Let's go. So we go. He gets into this car and I'm telling him, where are we going? And he's speaking Arabic, you know?
Okay.
And keep in mind, akhi, what's going through my mind at this time is you're in a car, you're with a person that you've never met in your life, but what's keeping me calm is you came for ilm.
Right.
You came for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and to learn the Quran.
Sahih.
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sees you. Don't worry. That's the only thing that's in my mind. Wallahi, that's what's keeping me calm because I'm in a country that I don't know. The language I don't know. Right? The only reason why I kind of trust this guy is because he's Muslim. Right? And hey,
that's tawakkul right there.
Let's see how the day goes.
Let's see how it goes.
Let's see how the day goes, right? So we go to this qarya, famous qarya.
Wow.
And a lot of students usually go there. Yeah, I think you know the qarya I'm talking about.
Right.
And we go over there and we meet a man they call Ammu Sheikh.
And the qarya, for those who don't know, it's like a village.
It's a village, yes, right? And this man, I still remember, he's called the uncle of the sheikh that I'm trying to go to, right? He's the uncle of the sheikh. And he says to me, what are you doing here? I said, hey, I'm here to study. He says, do you have a place to sleep? I said, no. I think, I hope you can help me out with this, right? And me and him are talking through another brother, a brother from America that's translating for me and him, you know?
Right.
And I was like, yo, I hope you can help me out with this. He says, okay, we'll get you settled in and give me your passport. I said, Sheikh. I said, I'm not giving you my passport. You can take whatever you want from me, but the last thing that I'm gonna fight for is my passport.
Exactly.
You're not gonna take my passport from me.
Right.
And he says, no, we're just gonna make copies. And I say, I don't care what you're doing. Like if you're gonna make a copy, show me the printer. I'll make a copy myself. I'll give you the papers. I don't mind. Like you can have a picture of my passport. Like what can you do with it? But I'm not giving you my physical passport. You know. And he's saying, hey, if it gets lost or if something happens to it, and you could go to the embassy and get a new one. And I'm telling him that's extra work for me.
Exactly right.
So we go back and forth. Keep in mind, July 1st, very hot day.
Wow.
Right? I'm over here sweating and the heat is hitting me.
And it's the village.
I'm seeing donkeys and I'm smelling ta'miyah. I'm smelling food. I'm hearing the Egyptians yell. I'm hearing honking.
And this is your introduction.
It's my introduction, man. And I'm taking it in.
Right.
And so he sees a random random brother that's from France. And he says, hey, take this brother and he's going to live with you guys. And so the brother he takes me, wallahi, and I kid you not, Sheikh Idris. The brother he takes me and he takes me to a house. The house was very dirty, akhi. Akhi, just walking in, you just feel like, ugh.
Oh wow!
Right? This is not a place that's
from the choice of the people there.
Yeah,
not looking after.
No.
Okay.
It was not very well kept.
Right.
And you can tell the mattresses had bed bugs. You can see the kitchen wasn't clean, the bathroom wasn't clean, and I'm saying to myself, this is not the way students live, you know. But hey,
I'm here for the ride.
I'm for the journey.
Yeah.
So he says you're gonna stay here with us.
Right.
So I'm thinking to myself, hey, no problem. Right, this is not gonna be a long-term thing. One night, maybe a week, I could figure it out. But inshallah, I'm gonna get my own spot. I'm gonna get my own place. I'm gonna figure it out.
Right.
That's been my thing in Egypt, which is, hey, I'm gonna continue doing this. I'm not gonna quit. I'm gonna figure it out. You know, and that's just my motto in life, right? If I don't like a situation, I deal with it, and then I try to figure out or try to get out of it. You know,
right. Versus quitting.
Yeah. Right. Because I can't quit. I traveled. I've dreamt about Egypt for a year. I saved up money. I told my parents, I told my brothers, I told my family members, I told the mashayikh, like, I can't quit. Like, this is what I wanted for a while, and I'm not gonna quit because the house is dirty. Right. No, I'm not. Right. And so I leave. He takes me to the masjid, Asr time, and I go to the masjid, and I'm talking to the students, and I'm telling these guys, I'm like, yo, what do you guys do here? And they're like, yo, we learn Quran and Arabic. And I'm like, yo, can you learn Quran and Arabic in Qahira, like Cairo? They're like, yeah, you can. It's like, why did you guys choose here? They gave me some reasons, and you know what I mean? Some of the students, they came to me, and the first thing that they asked me was, I still remember this. They're like, who do you listen to? I said, yo, salam alaikum, first of all, man.
Yep. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Right? Like, who do you listen to? I said, what do you mean? Who do you listen to? This is the first I remember, Sheikh Idris. In Seattle, we don't have this.
Yeah, this was my interest. Same exact
thing.
Yeah,
right? We don't have
this issue.
Nothing.
Right.
You know, I was never prepared for it. Nobody ever. Right. And so when I feel like somebody's over here trying to, you know what I mean? We went to public school, bro. We went to school with these guys.
Right.
So when you feel like somebody's trying to do something to you, you kind of push back, you know? Right. So who do you listen to? And they just start naming names.
Right.
My mistake was I don't know none of these guys. They're like, yeah, we listen to this sheikh, and we listen to that sheikh, and we listen to this sheikh, and this sheikh, and this sheikh. And I said, I don't know none of these sheikhs. I don't know none of these sheikhs because these sheikhs or these shuyukh, they speak Arabic. I have nothing against these mashayikh, but they speak in a language I just don't understand. And so there's no point of me listening to them. So we got into it a little bit, and I was like, yo, you guys really want to know? So I started listening on my Somali sheikhs, and they're like, we don't know these people. I said, exactly, they're Somali. So I'm trying to prove a point to them, trying to tell them, hey, listen, I listen to mashayikh that speak a different language from you, and you don't know them because you don't know the language. Therefore, I don't know these guys, not because I deem them to be some people that are bad or anything. I just don't know the language that they're listening, they're talking in, you know?
Right.
I was like, yo, I'm not vibing with this place. You know what? Let me see what I can do. Made some more calls, sent some more messages.
How long were you at that place for?
For a day.
And you was like, this is not it?
Yeah, I left that day.
I can imagine.
Right?
Right.
So I found a brother that I grew up with. His number, somebody gave me his number, and he's in Qahira.
Okay.
Called the brother. I said, hey, listen, akhi, I'm in this situation. He said, what made you go over there? I said, I don't know. I'm in it for the ride, right?
Right.
He said, all right, if you can come to Qahira, if you can find your way to Qahira, here's my address. Figure something out, a taxi or Uber or something.
Was this really deep from?
Yeah, it's like a 4 hour, it was like a 2 hour drive, right?
Okay.
And he was like, if you can just come to Qahira, I'll help you out.
MashaAllah.
I said, Alhamdulillah. So I go back to the guy that initially brought me there. And I said, hey, listen, can you take me to Qahira? He said, I need permission from Ammu Sheikh. I said, you need permission from who? He said, the guy that was the uncle of the sheikh. I said, why you need permission from him? He said, I just need permission. Let's go and ask him. So I go to the guy and I say, hey, listen, this guy needs permission to go with you. Can you just give him permission? He says, where are you going? I say, frankly, akhi, none of your business, but I'm going to Qahira. Why are you going to Qahira? Why are you not staying here? I don't vibe with this place. Are you coming back? Allahu A'lam. He told the guy, he said, you can't take him.
What?
I looked at the guy, I said, akhi, you want some money? I pulled out dollars. I said, yo, take me. He looked at the sheikh and he said, hey, I got bills to pay. And he took me. So he takes me to Qahira and I go to the brother's house and I stay there that night.
That is just like that. Right,
that's my introduction to Qahira. That's my introduction to Egypt.
That almost sounds like a hostage situation. Okay.
Right? So, Akhi, the first mistake that I made was I was not prepared.
Preparation.
To go there. A plan. Right? I knew what I wanted to achieve.
Right.
But the mistake that I made was, yalla, we're gonna make it happen on the way there, you know? Right. Some people can do it, some people can't.
It's like having a goal is one thing, defining a goal.
Yeah.
But then having a path.
It's another thing. Right? My plan B for me was, hey, we're gonna go to the airport, we're gonna take a taxi, go to the hotel, and just go to a masjid and walk around and meet brothers, and you're gonna run into American brothers, or you're gonna run into these type of brothers, and one person leads to another, and another person leads to another, and that's how you're gonna find your network. That was plan B for me, you know. Right. And you knowing Egypt, akhi, that kind of can work. If somebody ever came to like Medina to Nasr, and that kind of can work. You know, you meet a brother and you meet another brother and you meet another brother within a week. You know, you have all these brothers and you have connections now, and you can get by. You know, so that's Egypt for me. That was my introduction, and wallahi, I don't wish that for anyone, akhi, because it was stressful. I landed at 10 a.m. 10 p.m. I found somewhere to sleep, and wallahi, I was debating. I had my phone, bro. And I was looking at tickets to go back because I really wanted to go back. And so we made a joke out of it. We said, hey, if you don't look at tickets the first night you're there, then Egypt hasn't introduced itself to you. You know what I mean? Yeah, because you're gonna have problems, man.
Man, I think that's the biggest thing, bro. It's the introduction part. Because how many times, like I've went out there, I've been in Egypt. They also know I've been in Egypt while you were there at the same time. We connected out there, and there's a sense of regret that a lot of students feel immediately. It can hit them like, oh, gut check. Like I was at my house, I had my family, and I put myself voluntarily. It makes you feel kind of stupid. Like, what did I just sign up for? You know, it's like, did I really just set myself up?
Right.
But and then sometimes you have this goal. You talked about this. The itch part, and I think that we have to really talk about that as well, because Ustad, I was watching just a clip just the other day, it popped up. Ustad Nu'man Ali Khan, he was talking to a student about like advice or something like that, and the thing he said to him, and it was very profound, and I agree with him 100%. He said, if like not knowing the Arabic language does not really irritate you, like you feel so bothered by it, by not knowing, you can't just go and start learning the language just because you kind of feel like it.
Yeah.
Because that's not enough.
No.
To do what you just did, to look at the ticket and say, you know what, man, I'm tempted, but I'm not. I'm going to stay here. I'm going to find a way. That takes a certain amount of dedication and a certain amount of like needing, not wanting. Like, I need to do this.
Yeah.
And mashallah, it seems like you had that. Like you studied ahead of time. And I think that's the biggest thing. If you are not actively trying to do those things ahead of time, proving to yourself how much it means ahead of time, then once you go out there, you can fall off very, very easily. Very easily. And so, so what was the path for you? Like once you got there, I mean, I'm assuming you started seeing the institutes around, the brothers there. Did you start feeling better by seeing the atmosphere? How did you feel about that after? So
wallahi, that was the first stage.
Right.
Which I went there wrong. And yani, this is the reason why I told that is because remember we're talking about the glamorizing Egypt and everything. Nobody talks about this. Nobody talks about this initial thing that you go through. Everybody goes through it, right? Sure. I know brothers that got kicked out their houses. I know brothers that rented houses and they got scammed. Right. There's this thing, and I always tell brothers, wallahi, this is something that will open the gates of Jannah for you. This is something that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves. And so He's not going to give it to you easily. He has to distinguish the truthful from the liars. And so
it's a sifting process.
Yes, And so I feel like, wallahi, you will be doing the ummah a justice by telling everybody, we don't know what you're going to go through. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to test you, but be prepared for
in
it.
your own way.
In your own way, right? And so that night after, to get to the second question, akhi, the first day when I woke up, I went to the institutes. I went to an institute that's called Kalima. The only reason why I went to Kalima is because the brother told me, hey, go to Kalima.
Right.
I was never a fan of which institute should you go to, why this institute and why this institute, you know, because I see a lot of brothers, they tend to like not choose an institute for like a month just because of this, right? Not knowing how to decide. Right. Pick one, yalla, bismillah, khalas, right? He told me go to Kalima. I went to Kalima. I signed up that day, and I remember the administration, they were telling me, yo, the course that you signed up for started 3 days ago. You can pay for it, so you have to wait a whole month. I was like, no, I'm not waiting. I'm taking the test today. Please, like, put me in. I don't care what time of the day it is, right? And alhamdulillah, after just talking to them, annoying them, they allowed me. But there's another stage, akhi. I call this stage the cold stage. Which is the cold stage. Because you're putting in so much effort. So much time goes into studying. So much money and energy goes into studying the Arabic language, and wallahi, you see yourself not improving. You know what I'm talking about.
Exactly what you're talking about.
Right? You do it over and over and over again, and it's frustrating because it's not 1 day or 2 days. No, it's months.
Oh my God.
Months of just a brick wall.
Right. It's like that hurdle.
Yeah. Right. And this is where a lot of brothers and sisters fall off.
Doubt.
Shaitan
will creep up on that.
100%. They try to, a lot of brothers don't understand that this is the process. So what do? They switch. Oh, this institute's not it. This is not working for me. I'm not learning from this place. Let me go to another place. And same thing. Okay, let me do a private tutor. Same thing. A year goes by, he's switching.
Right.
And nothing happened, you know? But alhamdulillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala aided me in getting through this stage. Right. And I started slowly to see that I'm understanding Arabic little by little, you know?
I actually want to also talk about on that same part of like that cold stage. I remember I actually had like the inverse. Like the beginning, everything's new.
Yeah.
So I felt like I was rapidly making progress.
Allahu Akbar.
So the first 2 months, I was like, whoa, I'm right here having conversation. Like I could hold small things, you know? Ismi Idris, Ana min America. You know, just basic, simple thing. أريد هذا
ولا أريد هذا.
I'm feeling like I got the Arabic thing on lock. It's the illusion. So because when you go from 0 to 1, 1 seems infinitely more than 0.
Yeah.
So then the more you get, I think once I got to like the green book, I started to see, wait a second, there is so much I do not know. So then it's like, because you look back, you're like, bro, I only got there like a sliver of a sliver.
Yeah.
And then it can become intimidating.
Yeah.
Where you're like, oh my God, compared to where I need to go or I would desire,
I can't do this anymore.
I can't. So there's just 2 sides to it.
Yeah.
Right.
Just because علوم العربية Imam Shafi'i Imam Shafi'i rahimahullah ta'ala, Arab, the guy was born Arab, the guy was born Qurashi. He spent 20 years learning the Arabic language.
Wow.
He wasn't learning هذا وهذه ذلك وتلك لا he was learning لغة العربية, right? And if an Arab is learning لغة العربية for 20 years,
how about us? Who's learning Arabic in our 20s?
Right. So it's different. And so the second thing that we should start talking about is Arabic language is not 15-month course.
Thank you, bro.
Right?
It's this illusion.
It is.
Like, oh, you want to learn Arabic? They actually, I think it's a matter of humility. If you are here thinking, oh yeah, I'm gonna learn Arabic, I'm going to Egypt to learn Arabic. What does that mean? Like, really, what does that mean? Like, you're disrespecting the Arabic language. You are. You know, it's like, humble yourself, because it is an ocean. And if you don't come in there with that humility, then the minute a hurdle or a struggle, like you mentioned, this is too hard. This is not what I signed up for.
Exactly.
So exactly what you said.
You know, but my advice, and maybe I'm a little bit extreme in this, but my advice is always been hey, you're gonna do this, you have to do it. I had the motto of, if you're gonna learn how to play basketball, you're not gonna sit there and watch YouTube and learn how to dribble and how to shoot and how to shoot with your left hand. You're gonna go to the gym and you're gonna actually start shooting.
Right.
Most of us, we started off with, I don't know if you played for a team or anything, but most of us, we learned how to play basketball by just going to the park.
Exactly.
Right. We learned how to swim by just going in the water. That's how we all started.
Right.
And so you learn Arabic by picking up the books. Read, man. Read, and you're not going to understand, but continue reading. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to open it for you. And so in the beginning, what I did was, what really helped me was I bought books and I read. I didn't understand what I was reading, but I read. And that helped me. And that helped me with this obsession that I have with books, which is I have to always read. I always have to have a book with me. I always have to figure out what this book is about or what that book is about. That came from forcing myself to read something I didn't even understand. You know what I mean?
Right. Forcing. And do you think that's the approach that you recommend to a lot of students?
That's what worked for me. Well, somebody can say, "Akhi, if it works for you, it doesn't work for everybody else." True, but it also works for another brother that wanted my help, and I gave him. I said, "Hey, listen, this is what I did. Do it." And alhamdulillah, the brother now is very, very. The brother Dawood. He's mashallah, very, very well versed in Lughat al-Arabiya. Why? Because he picked up a book and he read, and he listened and he wrote and he talked. And he studied and he continued to study. And so the other mistake that we make, ya Sheikh, is we go to these institutes or we have a tutor, but outside of that, we don't do anything. You know what I'm saying?
Right, that small window of time.
Yeah.
What do you do with the rest of it?
We chill, go to the juice bar.
Come on, that's how it be with these guys.
Hey, we go out, we go to a restaurant, we kick it with the brothers,
the malls.
We go to the malls, right?
Right.
We find other things to do. We make videos on TikTok and show people, hey, this is Egypt.
Right.
Allahu Akbar, right? Allahu Akbar.
Right.
But that should stop. And I was an advocate for it. I was telling brothers all the time, hey man, wallahi, you want to read? Let's go to the bookstore. I'll tell you about the books. I don't have any problem with standing here and telling you this book is this and this book is that.
Right.
If you're gonna buy it, are you gonna read it? There's a lot of brothers that I took to the bookstores and alhamdulillah I told them to read and it kind of worked for them, alhamdulillah.
Right. MashaAllah. That's the approach that you recommend in going through the book, because the language is a thing that is a tool you have to use.
Yeah.
I think Arabi Baini Yadayk and a lot of the other curriculums they use, it's kind of like a structure for the organic approach of learning a language. You're writing it, you're reading it, you're speaking it in the classroom.
Yeah.
But then that can't just be your only thing. You have to kind of branch off and explore the language, use the language.
Right.
Because another misconception we can also talk about, Sheikh, is the fact that in the streets of Cairo, they're not speaking Fusha.
La.
Oh,
no.
Anta fain.
Amale.
Hey. I'm like, yo, what is this? So people say, I want to learn Arabic. I'm going to go to an Arab-speaking country. Yeah. But they're not speaking
Arabic.
Right. And even the brothers themselves, you go to Egypt, I remember even my roommates, we would say, oh, yep, we're going to speak Arabic with each other. And so much for that. After a couple, not even that long, a few sentences, a few minutes, it's like, all right, I want to start speaking my mother tongue.
Yeah.
And so, a lot of people, I remember even you saying that you had a goal of being there a certain amount of time, but because of certain mistakes that we make, it tends to elongate it, or people just say they give up, prematurely. And so, you mentioned some of those mistakes, Sheikh. What other things do you feel like students need to know, before embarking on this journey to internalize? What else would you say that
the
is?
living standards.
Oh, that's a big one.
Right?
Right. Water shutting off.
Hey, lights.
There you go.
Akhi, food.
It's just like this episode became why not to go to Egypt?
No, I really want brothers to go. I want sisters to go, but akhi,
you got to be real with them.
You got to be real.
It's better to go in there on your guard than to go in there and have your guard down and be unprepared. And caught lacking.
100%.
They say don't get caught lacking. If you go in there with these expectations.
Yeah, and it's not you're wallahi, it's gonna hurt you. You're not gonna want to do this anymore. You're just gonna go back, right?
Right.
but the living standards were not easy, right? You can live in a place that's well off, but we tend not to do that because we want to be close to the institutes. We want to be close to our brothers.
And those areas that you mean they're well off are known, like Medina to Rihab, Cairo.
Those places.
Medina to Nasr, where
Medina
a lot of the
to
institutes
Nasr.
are.
Yeah, it's not. You have your areas that are mashallah, and you have your areas that are mashallah. Right. It all depends on you. All depends on who you are. The other mistake that I see a lot of brothers make and a lot of sisters make is they think when you study, you have to study in a horrible environment. You have to be salaful salih. You have to live in a place where there's no AC. Right? And there's a story of a few brothers that I know. They lived in Tasya.
Why is this kind of funny to me? Because I've heard the same exact thing. It's like a mindset a lot of people internalize.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
They lived in Tasya.
Right.
Tasya, for those that don't know, is a place that, mashallah, it's not, I want to say it's high class, but alhamdulillah, right? It's a good place. You have a buwab, a security guard downstairs, and you have, alhamdulillah, right? It's kind of spacious. Right? Safe neighborhood. These brothers, they had, their house was very nice. It was furnished. They had everything good for them. 3 brothers. They said, you know what? We're too comfortable and we can't live or we can't study like this. I warned them. I said, please do not move away. If you guys are going somewhere else, at least, you know what I mean? Like, you don't have to move. You don't want an AC. Khalas, Sheikh, turn it off.
Turn off the power button.
Right. You know what I mean? Figure something out. They said no. They moved to Saqr Quraysh.
Where's that at? I've never heard.
Saqr Quraysh is the slums.
Really?
The hood.
How far is that from Medina to Nasr? Is it within it?
Yeah, it's known. You remember the bookshop?
Is it the 4th district?
You remember the 4th is like the 4th district,
right?
But slummier, if I can say.
Slummier than that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right? They call it Yani Shabi. You remember where the bookstore, the Ali bookstore was? Behind the
Khan Khalil area. Like the opposite side, the Azhar area?
No. Behind Ashir.
Okay.
You know, here's Ashir. I remember that some other restaurants, if you just walked a little bit behind it, that's where they went. And that's where they wanted to live.
Where all the Somalis and like the African people, immigrants.
Yes.
I know the unpaved road.
Yes.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Suq al-Muslimin, that one, near that area. I don't know if you know. The old one.
Behind it. Behind it. Behind it.
I thought that was a bad area.
That's a little bit better.
See, I've been, that's why I was in a whole other city. Okay, so they went there.
They went there, and I'm thinking, I was like, oh, why? And they said, this is the way to study. And they would look down upon brothers that had ACs and brothers that had, you know what I mean, cooks. And they said, yo, you guys are not studying. You guys are here for vacation. We want to study.
Right.
You can only advise brothers.
Right.
Wallahi, one by one, they went back. Within 3 months, they went back. Why? Because it's too hard.
You make things unnecessarily difficult.
Yes. Right. And guess what? As always, they never blame themselves. You know what they blame? They blame the teachers, the teaching standards.
Wow.
They blame the living standards. They blame everything except them. And so then now Shaitan gives them a new dream. Let's go to Mauritania. Ya akhi, Mauritania, you're living in the desert. If you can't live in Saqr Quraysh, how you gonna live in the desert? You know? And so one of the things that I really want to highlight is everyone is different. Figure out what works for you. There's brothers that type of lifestyle motivates them. And there's brothers that they need other things. In order for me to read and study, I needed an AC. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Right.
There's brothers that didn't want an AC. It's to each their own. Right? I like to clean the environment. In order for me to study, in order for me to study and do what I have to do and teach and do what I have to do, I need to be in a clean environment. There's brothers that don't care about that.
Don't care, right? You have to know yourself.
You have to know yourself. And so I
want
want
to be real with yourself. That's another part.
Yeah,
you got to be authentic with yourself. I see a lot of like what you said, Sheikh. Like I've heard that talking about, oh, we're too comfy or this and that. And I get what they're trying to come from because I know there's quotes about, how the student of knowledge, there's going to be poverty. I've heard this a lot, this type of rhetoric. and stuff like that. And so they say, oh, we're not struggling. We got to come up with like an artificial struggle.
Yeah.
And I know even in our religion, like, you know, we're not supposed to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make things difficult for us. We're not supposed to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to burden us more than, you know, we can handle.
Yeah.
And so when you do that to yourself, I think it's almost like an ungrateful thing. Like, bro, you are American.
Yeah, 100%.
You have, you know, like, bro, there are people who are begging to be in your position.
Right.
And you just foregoing that. That's not a virtuous thing.
It's not.
You know, so if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made something easy for you, say Alhamdulillah, and make use of it. You know, you talked about, you know, I know because I lived in Muqattam, which is about like 15 minutes away from Medina to Nasr. And I did hear a lot of brothers from Medina to Nasr like studying for a little bit and leaving. And I think a lot of it goes back to Sheikh is us going there with expectation. We're going to learn the Arabic language, but not having a game plan.
Exactly.
And I know you said, you know, khalas, look at the institutes, choose one. I've heard about brothers. I remember I met one brother in Medina to Nasr. And I said, oh, what institute you been in? Because he told me he was there for 3 months. He said, I'm still looking. And I said, well, I was shocked. I was like 3 months away from everything. It's depressing. Yeah. Like you in Egypt, you're going to be like, bro, why am I here? Yeah. Like, bro, it's not fancy. You're not in Malaysia. You're not in Dubai.
Yeah.
What are you doing here?
Right.
And so a lot of people, they don't have that game plan.
Yeah.
So for those listening, Sheikh, I mean, like, you know, just even getting from your story, there's a lot of wisdoms in it. But what do these people need to hear about that strategy? If you don't learn the Arabic language, I think, you know, choosing institute, right? Or if you want to do private study, choosing institute, things of so sort. But what other things would you say in terms of your study approach? You know, how, like, let's get practical in a way. Like, let's say, okay, you're studying in an institute for 2 hours. What are some things that students could do to excel and inshallah reach their goals?
Wallahi, you have to know what the Arabic language is. Right. The different sciences that the Arabic language has, and what science you're focusing on, and what you want from the science, and where do you start from the science, and what's the advanced level of the science. Once you can figure that out, then you have a roadmap of where to go. I always used to tell brothers, right? If your mission today is to go from my house, remember how I lived because we used to always be around my house, right? If your mission is to go from my house to Azhar, you have a you know where to start from, and you have a destination. If you get lost, what are you gonna say? You're gonna go to somebody and you're gonna ask, where is the road to Azhar? Right? And that person is gonna direct you to the road. Same thing with Arabic, right? You should have a starting point and an end point. And if you divert, or if you like get lost, don't go to the students. Don't go to a person that's on the same, it's somebody that's lost. You can't ask somebody that's lost how to get back on the road. My guy is lost, right? Who do you ask? You ask the teachers. You ask your ustads. You ask those that learn Lughat al-Arabiya. Do you remember the advice that they used to give us? I remember this all the time. I remember every time we would sit with my mashayikh, there's always a new student that asks, how can I learn the Arabic language? I remember my teachers would always say, just do it. Just do it. It's easy. Just continue doing what you're doing. You will never hear the mashayikh ever say, don't go to Lisan Arab. You will never hear them say.
The students started doing that.
Yeah.
Right.
Do you remember when you first contacted me and you were telling me, hey, I'm going to Muqattam? I don't know if you remember what I said to you. I said, akhi, if it works, it works. Right. Right. Exactly. At the end of the day, it's Lughat al-Arabiya. Akhi, if you feel like you want to go learn over there, then go learn over there, right? So the first thing a student should do is know what he's focusing on. These institutes, they teach you something. Right. You have al-Ibana that focuses more on Nahu and Sarf, grammar, and everything else. Balagha. You have Lisan Arab. People say that focuses on speech, but they focus, or they teach you, from what I know and what I've seen, they teach you a formula on how to go about Lughat al-Arabiya. Right? And so once you understand this, you know what to do outside of class. Right. You know what to study. So now let's say you have today you learned chapter 3. And you studied for you reviewed chapter 1 and 2. So, what do you do next? You just don't close your book and just put it away and go to sleep and say, I'm gonna wait for chapter 4. La. The tools that these institutes give you, which is identifying a ism, a noun, and identifying a fi'l, a verb, and how this fi'l can be used. You take these tools and you put them to use by picking up books, by listening to muhadarat, by writing. Right? I remember this one time we had a homework. The sheikh said, "Hey, just write one page in Arabic."
Right.
One of the hardest things I did in my life. But I still have the paper. Now when I look at it, it's like, oh, subhanallah. Like this forces you to use your words. Right? And so outside of class, I highly advise the brothers and the sisters to utilize the formula that these institutes are teaching you. These institutes, their goal is not to teach you lughat al-Arabiya. That's a misconception that we have. Their goal is to teach you how to search up words and how to read books and how to find what the meaning of this is. That's what their goal is. فلذلك the first day I came to Lisan, not Kalima, I remember the Sheikh. And I still, every time I see him, I say salam to him. He asked me, he says, "What are you here for?" I said, "I'm here for Nahu." He said to me, Nahu is not, Nahu doesn't teach you the language. I didn't understand it.
It's the grammar, the science of the language, how the words affect each other.
He said, that doesn't teach you the language. He says, what we're doing teaches you the language. So I said, okay. I put out a book, a notebook. He said, no, put that away.
Wow.
I said, why? He said, everything that's written on the board, take a picture of it. I said, what should I do? He says, listen.
Wow.
Just listen. And if you have a question, ask. And if we're doing something, participate. That's lughat al-Arab. So 2 hours and a half every single day, lisan Arab, that's what we were doing. I would come in, wallahi billah, I would come in with my I didn't even bring a notebook sometimes. I would come in and I would have my packet and we would sit down and we would listen. And remember, there's a new word. There's a formula. The ma'na, the jama', the mudad, and the teacher will ask you, hati jumla. Favorite thing. That's the first thing everybody learns. Hati jumla. Give me a sentence, right? That's what you're supposed to do when you read a book. You say, okay, this word has a alif lam. Ding, ding, ding. This is a noun. This is an ism. Okay, let me try to go figure out where I can find this ism. You figure it out. You try to find it. You try to find out the meaning and you try to find out the mudad and you bring your own jumla. You write your own jumla. This is how you learn lughat al-Arabiya, and this is what you should be doing outside of the institutes.
By taking in the tools and the resources that they teach you, you could benefit on your own now. It's like, why limit yourself to 2 hours a day when you can, some brothers are not even taking advantage of that 2 hours a day. No. Probably we skipping or not fully taking advantage of that time.
Yeah.
But when you go and you benefit, you could take that with you to the house. Whether it's by opening the books, going on YouTube. I know, there's a recommendation that you get a brand new YouTube account. Yeah. And you only watch like Arabic videos on that, like Fusha.
Wow.
I've heard that strategy. And just hearing the words, writing that down and benefiting. So Ustadh, one thing I do know is that distraction is a big element for us students, whether it's by friends, because we want to socialize. We're getting homesick. That's a big thing. A lot of brothers leave, right? So you have to have some kind of social element in there. Yeah. But the balance part is a difficult part for a lot of us. And so for you, how did you kind of balance, the social element by also not allowing that to overtake your studies?
That's a hard one.
That's a hard one, man.
That's a hard one. I mean, let me tell you this. I've seen brothers that try to cut brothers off because they say this brother's not good for me or this brother's this, and that causes problems. I've seen brothers not like each other because one of them is saying you're not good for me or the other one is slowly going away. It's a way of doing things. Now there's some times where we spend a lot of times with the brothers where there's times where we should be studying, but we're with the brothers. That's gonna happen, right? But what I used to do, what really helped me was, I was a person that just loved being at the house. I loved being just with the books, and I loved just being around, just having me time. Right. I rarely went out, and if I went out, it was to the masjid, back, grocery shopping, back. That was me, and it worked for me. And alhamdulillah, like I had good relationship with all the brothers. I never, maybe there was brothers that didn't like me, but I had a good. I really loved all the brothers that I met, and I gave brothers time that like I would tell them, if you guys want to ever meet, like let's meet here and there, right?
Right.
But there's some brothers, man, that come with their best friends. There should be this kalam. There should be this dialogue of, hey, let's work together. If you are an introvert, figure out how to study. If you are an extrovert, figure out and put yourself in positions where you're studying with good brothers. Islam doesn't tell you to cut ties. Islam just tells you to be around good brothers. There's a good brother. He doesn't study, but he's a good brother. You can learn a lot from him. You can learn a lot from his adab. You can influence him in studying. There's a good brother that loves studying. Be his friend. Live with those type of people. Other brothers, say salams to them. But at the end of the day, what I used to always tell the brothers is, if you're distracted, you allow yourself to be distracted. No one is forcing you to be distracted.
Right.
If you're not getting up from this conversation and walk away, you were the one that chose it.
Setting boundaries. Right. Knowing what you want, and then respecting those boundaries, and letting other people know you don't have to be disrespectful about it. You got to be like, yo, I gotta bounce out.
I'm not coming out Wednesday night.
Right.
I'm not coming out Thursday night. And one of the other things that really, really helped me was I had classes every day.
MashaAllah.
Every day. Every day.
Wow.
Multiple classes, right? I remember I would have class after Fajr. And it would go from Fajr from 6 o'clock all the way to like 8 o'clock, sometimes 9 o'clock. And then I would have another class from like 11 all the way to after Dhuhr. Right? And then after Dhuhr, I'm so tired. I can't even go outside, right?
Oh, yeah, I bet.
I would wake up at Asr time, and I would have family responsibilities. I was there with my wife and my daughter, and I would have to, fulfill their rights and make sure they're good for that day. And then after Maghrib, I would have class. Either I would be teaching or I would go to class myself. And then after Isha, I would also be teaching, or I would go to class myself, or I would be reviewing, or I would be with my family. And so this type of lifestyle did not allow me to actually be with a lot of people. That's why when people called me, I would tell them, hey, can you schedule it to like next Friday? Or I can't do it right now. I can never meet somebody on the fly.
Right.
Because that would mean I have to cancel a class. And I can't cancel a class for you. You know what I mean? If there's an emergency, I probably will. But if you just want to kick it, I can't.
So you had a routine, you had a system. That's the number one thing you have to have. I think a lot of people, they go there, it's their first time having a sense of freedom. A lot of the students in like a jamia, a university, they already have a schedule that's outlined for them. Some students, they're used to that in America, but then they go out there and there's none of that. So it looks like for you, you set yourself up for a schedule, a system that works. And I think once you do that, then it weeds out a lot of the distraction because you know what you need to do and where you need to be. So I love how everything you set up until this point really is cohesive. It's like you go out there, you have a plan, you have a goal, you have a plan. So you're not surprised when you get there, right? Would you consider, like, for those students, like, before they even come into Egypt, they have in mind some of the institutes they want to check out, like, look into it, research it. A lot of them, there's a bunch of YouTube videos out there that have talked about that. Can you name out a few of them, the most popular?
You have Lisan Arab, you have Fajr, you have Alibana. Those are the major three that a lot of brothers go to.
Right. And they all have like their own niche type of style. Right. But they're all some of them are roughly more similar than others.
So you have Lisan Arab and Fajr. They use the same book, which is Al-Arabi Bayni Yadik. And Al-Ibana has their own curriculum, their own way of going about things, right? At the end of the day, what works for you works for you.
Got you. Man, I feel like for you, you had a unique experience that I'm curious about. There's a lot of people who have families, who are getting married, who are interested in marriage, and they kind of struggle. I want to say they struggle because they're like, I know there's some people who are like, bro, I'm not even trying to get married because of being a student of knowledge. And I'm not gonna be able to give her right. And so, bro, for you, I want to say, how did you? Because it's not like, mashallah, you were so busy, bro. So how did you kind of balance the two of spending time with your family and fulfilling your their right, but also this ambition that you have that requires so much time and energy?
Wallahi, akhi, sacrifice, man. You know, if alhamdulillah, like wallahi, my wife, man, she sacrificed a lot. And she understood that yani, this is temporary. This is not something that I'm going to do for the rest of my life, which is yani, just be in Egypt and study for all these hours, right? And so, alhamdulillah, she kind of took a step back and just let me do me, right? And that allowed me to do what I wanted to do, you know? And at the same time, that used to, I wouldn't say force, but you know, when you're responsible, yani when you have responsibilities and everything, and you see a person taking a step back, they want to see you doing what they're sacrificing for. Right?
Exactly.
So it was a little bit hard for me to just go kick it for days and days and days.
Facts.
Because then she's going to come up to me and say, hey, listen, what are we here for?
Right.
Like, if you're over here playing around and doing this and doing that, like, why am I in this? Right? But that really helped me. And at the same time, my goal was to finish something. I had a set of books that I wanted to finish. And so the more hours that I put in, the more classes that I took, the faster we left Egypt.
And what were those books for those who are interested?
So, you know, I'm a fanatic when it comes to fiqh al-Shafi'i.
Gotcha, yeah.
Right?
That's your specialty, even in Medina Nasr. They would be saying that.
There's a book that's called Minhaj.
Okay.
Minhaj al-Nawawi, or al-Nawawi.
Right.
And this is للأسف الشديد, in the time that we live in, this is what you call an advanced book in the madhab. ولكن according to the ulama, this is the beginner step, right? And so the 5 years or the 4 years I was there, I was trying to get to that book. That was my goal. Before I even left before I left to Egypt, that was my goal. And so in order to get to this book, I needed the Arabic language. I needed a science that's called usul al-fiqh. I needed a science that's called قواعد الفقهية. And when I say the Arabic language, I needed nahwu, and I needed sarf, and I needed a little bit of balagha. And I also needed other sciences to help me understand what fiqh is, right? And so you would see me study a book here and study a book here, and it would always be connected to studying this. And that was for every science. So in each science in Islam, I've studied the beginner level, and alhamdulillah, I worked my way up to intermediate or advanced level. Each science that I thought I needed, whether it was hadith, whether it was mustalah al-hadith, whether it was ulum al-hadith in general, whether it was usul al-fiqh, whether it was lughat al-arabiyya, and I'm still studying. I'm not saying I'm there, but I'm still getting there, you know. And my goal was to reach a level where when I do come back to the States and life hits me, I can continue studying without sacrificing a lot. Because in the beginning, you need to sacrifice a lot. You need to give your all to knowledge in the beginning.
You need that head start to kind of push you.
So when I come back, I can just maintain life and studying, you know.
Man, I remember I was in a Zoom meeting, because the institute I was at, they had a brother from Azhar who was an imam here. Who, it was like a Q&A, any questions we had for him. You know, it was very beneficial. And I think we asked him about, because there's a lot of single brothers in there asking about marriage as a student of knowledge. And I think he got married out there as well. And he said, do not allow your most beautiful times in life, Egypt, because for a lot of brothers, it's like they look back and it's like amazing. Do not allow your best times in life, this experience, to be a memory that your wife says this was the worst thing and this was the worst period in her life, right? And he said how there's many brothers who divorce happens often, because even in Medina, university like Medina, stuff like that, where I don't know how prevalent it is, but this is what I've heard, that the brothers are committed to the study. They have so much going on. But for the women, they sacrificing a lot, right? Even for us, we sacrifice, but the women is really, because for us, we have the social life, we're kicking it, bro, for me, I loved it, because I'm meeting brothers who are amazing, bro. Amazing. And I like meeting new people. So when I'm connecting with somebody who, mashallah, is a good brother, and, I'm seeing people, we all love the deen, and Allah Mabarak is an amazing thing around the world. I'm sure maybe they have some, I don't know, the sister side, they probably got something like that going on.
They had to. They had to.
I know they got a sister situation going on. But if brothers don't facilitate that and say, hey, like, okay, I also have to make sure, because she's a human being. Mm-hmm. She can't just be tucked away. It's going to be tough on her. Mm-hmm. You know, so have you heard of that struggle that a lot of people face?
Yeah. Yeah, I did. And it's something that, wallahi, blame, I can say, is on both ends. Marriage is one of the hardest things anyone can do.
And then on top of that, you're doing seeking knowledge.
Yeah, right? Because akhi, you gotta, it's the life of waking up and doing you is gone. Right? You gotta wake up and figure out that day and plan accordingly with your spouse. Right. And the goals that you have, sometimes you're gonna have to sacrifice a lot of things because of your spouse. Sometimes a lot of brothers left seeking knowledge because issues that had to do with their spouse, and a lot of sisters are not able to go out and seek knowledge because the brother can't probably provide, you know. And so the first thing that the brothers and sisters that are marrying and that are married or going out to study, they should have a honest to God conversation. Right. This is something that we're gonna do, and it's gonna be very difficult. There's gonna be times where we butt heads. There's gonna be times where we're probably gonna have panic attacks. There's gonna be times where it's scary. There's gonna be times where we're gonna want to go back. But let's help each other. Let me help you. You help me. It's not fair to take to go out and seek knowledge and, like you said, you keep your wife tucked away. Nah. She wants to go out. She wants to go to the institutes. The same way you want to study, she wants to study. The same way you go to classes, she goes to classes. So what do you have to do? You have to plan how you guys can do this together. She has to motivate you in waking up. Right. You have to motivate her in waking her up for school. Right? The Prophet ﷺ, he says, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have mercy on the man that wakes up in the middle of the night, that prays, and he tries to wake up his wife, and if she doesn't, spills water on her face, and sprinkles water on her face. And he says, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have mercy on the woman that wakes up in the middle of the night and that prays and tries to wake her husband up, and if he doesn't wake up, sprinkles water on his face. If you look at this hadith, Shaykh Idris, you see the Prophet ﷺ is hinting at that if you're doing khair, if you're getting closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you are selfish if you don't help your spouse. The Prophet ﷺ did not mention force this person to wake up. La. The Prophet ﷺ says, do your best. Do your best in helping this person in doing what you're doing, which is praying to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right. Seeking knowledge is a form of worship. And seeking knowledge is something that gets you to Jannah. And seeking knowledge is something that gets you the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so if you're not motivating your spouse, whether it's the man or the woman, then you're really not about that life. Because if you really want something, you want it for your spouse. And then you have to facilitate how your spouse can get it. You see, the Prophet ﷺ said, he didn't say pray together. He mentioned that the man prays and he mentioned that the woman prays. Sometimes you got to study on your own. I'm not saying you guys have to bring out the books and you guys have to do it together. Right. There's times where you have your studies and she has her studies. But just make sure you guys are doing the same thing. And if you have two people that are on this mindset, akhi, wallahi, whatever life or shaitan throws at you, akhi, you can shrug it off. Right. But if you're just a horrible human being, just leaving your wife for hours and hours and hours, she's going to hate you and she's going to hate the situation that you are in, and you're not going to find tranquility in your marriage. I've even heard some women resenting the deen, bro. Yeah. Because this tends to happen. I've heard of this where she gets with a religious guy or whatever, and maybe she's not maybe she didn't have that fuel.
And then the whole experience turns her off from it. That's what he literally told us. He said, the Sheikh was telling, he says, I've seen this happen multiple times where the women themselves are turned off by the idea of seeking knowledge just because of the way the husband went about it.
Yeah.
And so it's like balancing your responsibilities.
Yeah.
I think as men, like we have to talk about it because it is a challenge. And I think women as well have to try to sympathize with us because we're all doing our best and understanding that, mashallah, your husband has this goal.
Yeah.
It's going to come with certain sacrifice.
Yeah.
It's not going to be those type of relationship where you can go on vacation and you got the money, your kitchen looks so beautiful. And no, it's going to be a little bit of sacrifice.
Yeah.
But mashallah, like imagine the investment that is.
Yeah.
Imagine the investment of being in a family where the wife can teach her kids Arabic and Quran. Beautiful. And you can sit there and talk about qawaid and nahwa and your kid is asking you questions.
Beautiful.
It's rare to find this.
Yeah.
And the stuff, the struggles that you're putting in today for that goal is that's the fruits of it.
Exactly.
You have to keep your eye on that prize.
100%. 100%. And it's hard.
Oh yeah.
It's very difficult.
Right.
And the other thing, Sheikh, shaitan is actively trying to have a divorce happen. This is something that the Prophet ﷺ told us. He has his arish on the mat, right, on the water, and he asks the jinn or his junud or his army, what did you do today? And one of them stands up and he says, I did this and this, and the other one stands up, I did this and this, and one of them says, I made a man divorce his wife today. I made a man leave his family today. And he says, Anta, you become close to me, you've done well. It shows you, akhi, that the shaitan is scheming, he's plotting, he wants this to happen. And wallahi lil asif al-shadid, there's a lot of divorce that happens because of seeking knowledge. And so now sisters are scared. They hear stories. Oh, subhanallah, fulana bint fulan, she went through this with her husband and her husband did this to her. And when they were there, they did this. And now the students of knowledge, the brothers that are very, very good brothers, once he approaches a sister and he says, hey, I want to go out and study and I want to marry you. Right. What does she say? When you come back, probably, inshallah, let's think about it. Right? Why? Because she doesn't want to put herself in that predicament. And so this looks bad on us, you know? Right. When you the way I like to think about it is this. When you're studying, you need support. The more you make your wife happy, or your spouse, right? The more you make your spouse happy, the more they will support you. And the more that they support you, the more you'll be successful. And so your success lies in how comfortable and how happy your spouse is. And so you actively trying to make your person that you're married to, the person that you're married to, happy will help you in studying and retaining the information that you're studying. Because wallahi billahi ta'ala, you cannot study when you just had a full-fledged argument, akhi, you cannot read books. Oh my God. No. You're not focused. Right. You're not focusing. Right. Probably in a couple of hours, but akhi, when you are upset right, and mad, right, there's no such thing as studying.
The crazy thing is some people look at their wife as an obstacle into the seeking the knowledge. And so you flipped it, akhi, in what you just said, is seeing them as an asset. You see what I'm saying? Like shaitan will make you think the opposite. He tricks you, akhi.
He tricks you.
He said she's getting in the way of it. No, in your approach can dictate whether or not this person supports you or this person turns away. You know? And I really love what you said, akhi. And I think that's an encouragement for a lot of family, like people who are saying, oh, I can't go about this because I'm married or something like that. No, it's change the mentality. If you two really want something and want to benefit, then khalas, go ahead. Acknowledging that, the expectations that you have and the reality of what you may or may not see. So Jazakallah khair, akhi, for talking about a little bit about that, because I think that will benefit a lot. I want to also talk about navigating, bro, as well, right? Navigating Egypt. I know that's a big one. You went out there from scratch, like not knowing anybody. Let's say somebody saying, oh, okay, I want to go to Egypt, but I don't know nobody. How am I supposed to get tapped in? Like, how am I supposed to find a place? These are like basic things. How am I supposed to find a place? How am I supposed to get around? What would you say to those people? It's a big question. Because like, are there real estate agents? Are there, things like we have in America? Are there things like that out there?
There is, but there's rules, and there's what we like to call unwritten rules. There's payments. There's ways to go about things.
Right.
And so one of the biggest help that you can get is finding somebody that's already established there or that already lived there that can kind of give you the rundown on what to expect. I used to tell brothers, hey, listen, this is what you're supposed to be doing. And before you do or before you sign off to anything, please call me just so I can see if there's anything fishy. For example, there's a couple of brothers that I've been told they put down a key deposit. I think it was like $5,000. A key deposit.
A what?
A key deposit.
$5,000?
5,000 Guinea. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
For a second, I was like, they living in a mansion.
A key deposit.
A key deposit, 5,000 Guinea. Well, what's a key deposit?
You tell me, Sheikh.
Is it to hold the key?
I don't know. They've been told there's a deposit for the key and you got to give 5,000.
I heard deposit for the apartment, not for the key itself.
Yeah. Hey, so they believed it.
Oh my God.
And so they gave $5,000, 5,000 Guinea.
Right.
Why? Because they had it. 5,000 Guinea is like, what, $300?
Right.
It was $300 now with the inflation and everything.
They're just giving stuff out.
Yeah, but you see, when you don't know what you're dealing with, I can give you any type. I could be like, yo, there's a light deposit, bro. There's a lot of brothers that paid, when this apartment hasn't, no one lived in it for like, let's say a year. There's always bills that they have to pay, whether it's gas, whether it's electricity, whether it's something. I've seen landlords try to convince that these bills that haven't been paid for a year are your responsibility.
What?
Yeah.
What kind of shady activity is
You see, when you don't know the rules, they'll
try to play you.
They'll try to play you.
You can't let go of your street smart. You can't. You gotta be smart.
But brothers, they accept it. They're like, oh, how much is it? Like, oh, what? $50? I got you. So one of the things that brothers should do is reach out. Sisters should do is reach out to anyone that they think that went to Egypt or that lives in Egypt or that they know in Egypt. You gotta network. You gotta ask your parents, hey, do you know any family members, extended family members that are in Egypt? Somebody that I can talk to.
Go to your local masjid.
Go to your local masjid. Yeah. Figure something out.
It makes it so much easier.
Wallahi, a lot.
Right.
Don't do the mistake that I did by just going there.
Right.
Find somebody. And, when it comes to networking, they say the best thing to do is instead of looking for someone new, just start with your immediate family and start with your friends and people that are close to you. Somebody knows. Somebody has a friend that has a friend. Always. Right. Or somebody knows somebody that's following somebody.
And there's a lot of people out there in Egypt.
A lot.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So you just ask. Know what you like, what I'm saying? Know what you want and figure something out. There are real estate agents, but there's a rule, which is you have their price is whatever house that they bring you, they get that amount. So for example, let's say you're paying 5,000 Guinea. They want 5,000 Guinea as for their commission. So now you're paying 5,000 Guinea for the real estate agent. You're paying 5,000 Guinea for the first month deposit. And 5,000 Guinea for a security deposit. So you're paying 15,000. Right?
Right.
That's what usually happens. But sometimes they hit you with another deposit, which is first month's deposit, security deposit, and last month's rent.
Last month's rent?
You tell me what that is.
Am I paying for somebody else living in this place before?
I don't know what you're doing. Right?
Okay.
And so you just gotta run it by brothers, right? But here's the problem, and this is what really, really irks me and annoys me. You call a brother and you say, "Hey, I'm about to do this." Let's say you're paying a 6,000 Guinea for a house, and you're calling the brother to say, "Hey, does this contract or does this agreement look good to you? Is it something that's adi?" This brother will tell you why you shouldn't get into this house for 6,000 and why you should go somewhere else because he would live somewhere else and he would never pay 6,000 for it. I hate when people force their opinion on you.
Yeah.
I didn't call you to ask you for the house. I just called you, is this agreement correct? Whatever I pay for the house, I want to pay for the house. And so a lot of times you see brothers in Egypt kind of forcing their opinions on people.
Yeah, that's the biggest
Don't
thing.
live here. Go live over there.
Right.
Right? I don't live over there. I don't know. Akhi, just tell me if this agreement is right. If I'm paying for something that's right. And if not, khalas, assalamu alaikum.
Right. Making it about them.
Making it about them.
Right.
And so you gotta kind of distinguish his opinion.
Right. That's a big skill you have to learn.
Yeah.
Because, you know, when you go over there, you're relying on other people a lot of the times. And then you take everything of what they say. Right?
Yeah.
So being critical,
being critical, yeah. Distinguishing what he would do.
Right.
And you're knowing what you're asking. Is this agreement right?
Right.
Am I paying for something that I'm not supposed to be paying for? Is what he's saying okay? Because, you know, Egyptians, they talk really fast.
Oh, you ain't lying.
They talk really fast and they say so many words you don't understand. And they're very, very, you know, they make you.
It's a different culture.
It is.
We have to understand that too. It's not the American or Western culture.
No.
It's get it how you live it type of culture.
Yeah.
I was even talking to a homie that went to Morocco. One of the homies, Abdulaziz, you know the brother Abdulaziz.
MashaAllah, yeah.
MashaAllah.
Shout out to Abdulaziz.
Yeah, shout out to the brother. Yeah, so he was talking to me and he was telling me how even when he went to Morocco, the vibe was different.
Yeah.
The vibe was different. The culture was different.
Yeah.
So understanding that as well. You have to understand this is a get it how you live it culture. People are trying to make money. They see you as a foreigner. Yeah. You got to be smart. You know, we think, I'm in a Muslim country. It's the romantic thing, that TikTok thing again. Yeah. They're going to look at you, okay, keep watching that TikTok. I'm trying to make my money. You know?
And he will make his money.
He will make his money. So Jazakallah khair for making that point. So bro, along with helping these new students who are considering going to Egypt, what are some things, bro, from your experience after have been there for such a long time? What are some tips and things that you think will benefit others? Is there anything on top of your head that like?
Wallahi, review. One of the biggest mistakes I've made, Sheikh Idris, is in the beginning, for example, I was learning fiqh al-Shafi'i. We started with a book that's called Safinat al-Salah. Another book that's called Safinat al-Najah, Abu Shuja'an. يعني شرح أبو شجاع شرح قاسمي, and then we went to Zubud, and then we went to a kitab that's called Umdat al-Salik by Ibn Qib al-Misri. Right. My thing was, hey, the information that's in this book will be in the next book. So when I'm done with this book, I'm just reviewing the information and just adding more information. And when I'm done with that book, I am reviewing the same thing. In the beginning, yes. But when you get to a book like Abu Shuja' and you study a kitab like Kitab al-Tahara, and you study the adilla of Kitab al-Tahara, and you study how ulama al-Shafi'iyya come to this dalil or come to this conclusion, and you don't write it down, and you don't spend time in reviewing this, by the time you're done with Kitab al-Zakah, everything that was mentioned in Kitab al-Tahara is gone. And so by the time you're done with when you're done with Abu Shuja' itself, whatever you went over, if you didn't review, it's gone. So now you're getting to a more advanced book with more information. Now you're having a hard time catching up, right? And so when I was at Umdat al-Salik, I remember, wallahi, till this day I remember, I had to make that decision. Do I continue like this and just go about it, or what should I do? Right. So I made the choice. I said, I'm going to start all over. Talked to the Mashaykh. I said, I'm going to start all over. I'm going to go back to number one, or the book that I feel like I need to start, which was Abu Shuja'. And I'm going to study this properly and review it and review the adilla and study it and study it and study it. Right. Not just that. And this is what a lot of brothers really liked. If I come to a gathering, we're not going to talk about MBA. We're talking about fiqh. I used to always love telling brothers, hey, listen, man, challenge me. I am for fiqh al-Shafi'i. If you believe in, there's a mas'ala, and they say al-ilmu bayna talamith. This wasn't debating. This wasn't mira. This wasn't, this was us benefiting each other. Right. Hey, you know this mas'ala, right? All right, let's talk about this mas'ala. Let's see what ulama al-Shafi'i say about this mas'ala. And through this, I realized a lot of brothers, mashallah, they kind of fell in love with fiqh as well. So one of the biggest mistakes that I made was not reviewing. So brothers and sisters have to review.
Big time, even like for the Quran, for example.
Oh, yeah.
Man, because imagine you start moving your way, you feel encouraged, and out of nowhere, the beginning portions, the earlier portions start slacking. Yeah. And then some people say, oh, you know what? I'm just going to go back. Yeah. And instead of retaining what you are reviewing, what you should have had, you kept up.
Keep
going back. So what you said is on point, bro. And that's what goes along with spending the time outside of your classroom in reviewing. Yeah. Out of your Bani Adik, when you progress, go back and see what you've learned so far. Yeah. Test yourself. make it a game, make it a challenge. Like you said, we're talking to the homies and stuff like that. Oh, what you guys learning? Oh, let's talk a little bit about this, you know? So, mashallah, that's on point, bro. I'm trying to think what else to go into about Egypt. But we said so much. I'm trying to think, Hadda. Okay, I want to talk about the safety, bro. I want to talk about safety real quick. Okay. Okay. I know there's many people who have, decided or thought about going to Egypt, and one of the questions is safety. We're gonna be real here. Like I remember, I don't know if you were there at this time, but it was around March time. I think you left a couple months before that. But brothers were getting arrested.
Alhamdulillah, I left.
Alhamdulillah, bro. Because I remember you told me. I'm not gonna put your business on the street, but you told me because you had supposed to have your iqama and the visa.
Yeah.
But you were telling me, bro, that's not really much of an issue. They don't really check.
Yeah.
But then it's like when you left, they started stopping
checking everybody. Yeah.
Right. So it's like okay, and then I'm in the group chats, right? Yeah. So I'm seeing, brothers are in these prisons, and the conditions I was hearing. I'm not trying to terrify anybody. But the condition I was here was crazy.
Yeah.
Right? In terms of just the issues with it.
Yeah.
And so safety-wise, is it a thing that people need to worry about? Like, not even just government-wise, but criminal activities. I heard stick-ups happening. I don't know how often that happens. Like, bro, the thing is, it's important to put things into perspective. Mm-hmm. We from America, bro, just like the other day, there's shootings happening everywhere.
You
see what I'm saying? So putting things into perspective. Is safety a thing that people really need to take into consideration?
Wallahi, Egypt, as I remember, was one of the safest places that you can be.
Right.
There are times, there are people that try you, but in general, safety is something that mashallah.
Right.
Everybody wanted, when in that type of country, when everybody is moving day to day, they don't live the way we live. We live on paycheck. They don't live on paycheck. They live day to day.
Wow.
And so when you're living day to day, you're worried about how to get this money and how to put food on the table, right? And so there's not that many criminal activities that's happening. There are people that sell drugs, but that's not the communities that we were living in, right? There are I wouldn't call them gangs, but there are like crews but that's not where we were living in, right? Where we lived in was alhamdulillah good. The police enforce law. People are scared of the police. The Egyptians are terrified of the police.
Really?
They're very
Egyptians?
Yeah. It's not like any other third world country where you're not terrified. Yeah, other third world countries, nobody cares about the police, right? Somalia, that's your cousin. They're not going to do anything to you.
Exactly.
Right? You go to prison or you go to jail and your cousin takes you out. Your uncle is the warden.
Right.
Warden, So in Egypt, it's not like that. Everybody's scared of the police.
Wow. And
so you see brothers walking around at nighttime in hours where everybody's sleeping. As in the case of sisters, just certain times at nighttime they shouldn't be walking around.
But how about just in general? Like, let's say Medina Nasser, sister about walking by herself. Is that a safety concern? Or what do you say?
During the day, it's okay.
Okay.
At nighttime, it's okay. I don't want to scare any sisters, but there are cases.
It's just like
anywhere in the world.
Anywhere. That's what it's. Yeah. People say don't let go of your street smart.
Yeah.
What you would pull in America, would you go ahead and start pulling that out there?
No.
Right.
If you're not gonna walk around 2 a.m. at nighttime in America, don't walk around 2 a.m.
exactly
in Egypt. Right. If you're not willing to get into an Uber at 2 a.m. Don't get into an Uber at 2 a.m. in Egypt. It's something you just don't do, right? I remember there were some people that would come from like America and land 2 a.m. or 1 a.m. or 3 a.m., and just getting an Uber, you will always have like a shady person. And I would not wish that upon any of my sisters or my wife or anybody, because some of these guys, we don't know who they are.
They could be creeps.
They could be anybody, right? It's dark and it takes you to a wrong turn. There's a lot of stories that
I've heard out there.
Yeah.
I don't mean to, I was debating whether I should bring it up, but I was like, I think I should bring it up because it's a podcast. But bro, I remember when I was out there was a Somali sister or something like that, and a tuk-tuk. I don't know, you heard about this?
Yeah.
Where some guy tried to make a move on her, if you guys know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And
she handled business.
She took him out.
Yeah, send
I
him
was
to his
shocked.
Lord.
Against his own weapon, using his own weapon.
Yeah.
I say, yo, and it's like, so there's those things. I mean, like that sister, she has some intelligence. She was able to defend herself.
Yeah.
So it's like those things happen anywhere in the world.
Anywhere in the world. You just got to be smart.
Right.
If you're going to go somewhere, go with somebody.
Sorry.
If you're going to live in a place, live with a group of people.
Right.
If you're going to be somewhere, be by the family. Always have somebody that has your GPS. Always have live location on.
Sorry.
The person that you're going to. Like these type of things you need. You need in your life, right? And one of the things that I don't want to do is make someone paranoid. Egypt is safe.
Exactly. The paranoia part is there.
Yeah. Egypt is safe.
Right.
It's good.
It is. Yeah, definitely.
Right? But they're like every part in the world. I think they said it's the 8th safest country in the world.
Right.
It's pretty safe. I've never had a stick up. Nobody ever tried me. Nobody.
But you were a bigger guy too. You said, like, hey, hold on. If I'm scouting, I'm not scouting.
But there was brothers that, mashallah, like, you know, they ran into the wrong crowd. And they got pocket checked.
Right.
Allah alam.
And I heard you can't be walking all miskin. You gotta, like, if you're walking head down and looking timid, like, you can't be doing that, because anywhere in the world, you have to walk with your head on a swivel. You know what I'm saying? Don't be out here on your
chest
phone.
out.
You know what I mean? Chest out, head up, looking who's looking at you. You know,
the biggest things that or one of the things that happen is you're walking, you have your phone out, tuk. You're not catching that. You're not catching that.
Or your bag, fanny pack.
Or your bag, yeah.
I heard about that.
Yeah, so you got to be careful when you're walking in the street. Know where you're going. You know what I mean? Look around. Look what tuk is coming. Look what car is coming. See if a tuk stops in the place that you're going. You just got to do these type of things, you know? I usually, I always was in the neighborhood. And if
I remember you told me, you said this, I haven't left this block.
Yeah, it's just me, man. I like this area.
Yep.
The area for me was, I knew my neighbors. My neighbors were good guys, were good people. The Egyptians loved them. Masajid people loved them. Right? Most of the masajid, I knew the imams.
And which area was this, if people are interested?
This is Medina Nasr, Hayy Tasya.
Okay, got you.
Hayy Tasya, right? I love the place. I love the area. And if my wife left, I would go with her, right? I'm not saying like to the grocery store. She used to go to the grocery store. She used to go to Lisan Arab by herself. But I'm just saying, like if she would go somewhere, like we would go together. Right. You know what I mean? I don't want my wife being somewhere downtown Cairo and not knowing what's going on.
Facts.
You know?
Right.
That's just how every man thinks.
Right. For sure. You got to be on guard. For anything, actually, because anything can happen. Okay. I also want to tie it all together, bro. Like this experience, you've been gone, you know, you went there during your 20s, just enjoying it, you know, as a young man and exploring life. How has this experience impacted you, akhi? Like this whole journey, mashallah, you went out there in seek of knowledge, and mashallah, you're continuing to seek knowledge as well, and you're benefiting. For those who are curious, maybe they have a dream of learning the Arabic language. Maybe they have a dream of understanding some ayat in the Quran. Through your experience, you know, they can live vicariously through what you've achieved. You know, how has this trip, how has this journey impacted you?
My last Ramadan, my first Ramadan, barely understood the Quran. But my last Ramadan, akhi, in Egypt, was by far the best. Ayat after ayat, akhi, understanding the meaning, understanding the qissa Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling you, knowing the fiqh behind a ayah, knowing the qissa, knowing what time or who this ayat were revealed on. Taraweeh was different for me. The last night, the last Ramadan, you know? Right. And would I do it again? 100%. Would I go through the struggles again? 10 times. 10 times. I'm not saying I'm a very pious man and I have iman. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is Egypt, and I will always be grateful to Egyptians and my Egyptian teachers and the teachers that taught me, and I will always give thanks to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for allowing me to have that part of my life to understand His Quran. SubhanAllah. Right? To pick up tafsir and to understand. Akhi, that was the best. And I remember because I went to Darul Al-Qam My favorite recital was Sheikh Rida. And hearing Sheikh Rida recite, it kind of, you appreciate why. You know, there's a secret, I wouldn't say secret, but a sir between why the Quran is read in Ramadan. Why it is important for a Muslim to read the Quran and finish the Quran. There's a sir between, there's a secret behind why Maghrib and Isha and Fajr the Quran is recited out loud. This is for the Muslims to hear the ayat over and over and over again. Ramadan is a month where you start the Quran from the beginning and you finish it. This is where you come back to the religion. This is where you find hope. This is where you find tawakkul and trust. Everybody that's in the West are mahroom from this. They don't have this. What the Arabs have, wallahi, they don't have this. I remember one of the famous mashayikh, we were talking about sha'air, right? He was talking about sha'air. He was talking about the adhan, and he was talking about the masjid, and these are called sha'air, right? Going on Eid, Yom al-Eid, and going outside and showing that there's a lot of Muslims in the community. Sha'air, to show Islam, to prove that Islam is there, right? To have a minaret, and it shows that this is an Islamic place or a community or a country. The adhan as well is a sha'air, or sha'ira min sha'air al-Islam. He said when it comes down to the Arabs or the Muslims that understand Arabic, he says they go about their life and they do whatever they want to do, and they come to the masjid and they hear ayat of the Quran and they stop what they're doing. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking to them. You have a person that's going through stress. He comes to Maghrib and the Shaykh, he recites about how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is merciful and how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants this for you. And a person commits sins, or he wants to commit sins, or he lives a life of sin, and he comes to the masajid and he hears ayats of how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will punish him and how this happens to this person. The Quran in your daily life is used to guide you. But if you don't understand it, what are you doing? Right. And so he said the Muslims that know Arabic have this. And he says, well, like in the Muslims that don't have this, they need other things to make them remember about Islam. And so he said, I believe the thobe is fard kifaya, is a communal obligation on the people that live in the West.
Wow.
Why? He says, because they have nothing else to remind them about Islam except this.
Wow.
Okay, that's the life that we live in. That's the community. That's where we are, bro.
That's where we are, right.
Where clothes remind us of Islam.
Right.
Where the Quran is recited ana'ul layl, all night and all day. We don't understand what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us. Right?
Right.
Where we want to practice the religion and don't know what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants from us. Where you want to give da'wah and you don't know who Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was. Akhi, it is very, it is sad. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allowed me to go to Egypt and to become from those people that know the Arabic language and to understand His Quran. I love it when I go to Maghrib or Isha or Fajr and I understand the Quran. I love it when my wife turns on the Quran and I understand what the Shaykh is reciting. You know what I mean? I love it when I'm reading Quran and I want to know more about an ayah. Or I forgot what this ayah was about, so I go back to the tafsir and I read it. I'm not saying I know the tafsir in and out, but what I'm saying is, alhamdulillah, Egypt gave me the tools to actually sit down and to look at these ayats. You know, they say a faqih. They debate who is a faqih, who is a scholar. In usul al-fiqh, right? One of the sciences.
Right.
They say a scholar is not a person that knows every mas'ala.
Right.
But a scholar is a person that when he is asked a question, he can find the answer for you. Imam Malik rahimahullah ta'ala, famous story. A man came to him with 60 questions. Out of those 60 questions, he only answered 4, I believe. Does that make Imam Malik not a scholar? No. That just means he didn't know the answer on the spot. And he says, La adri. But if you gave Imam Malik rahimahullah ta'ala time to research, I bet you he will give you the answer. And so if you can achieve that from Egypt, the tools to research your religion and to continue learning your religion, wallahi, you've succeeded. And once you have that and you compare that with the struggles of Egypt and the blackouts and the dogs running around and the sewers just messing up the streets, the masajids not being open all the time, the food, you being sick, the weather, once you compare that, wallahi, this will seem like it's nothing.
SubhanAllah.
You know what I mean?
Because of what you achieved.
Because of what you have achieved or what you have your eyes on. If you have your eyes on the prize, everything else becomes nothing.
Right. Because what you have is so great.
It's so great.
That in despair of these little petty things, you're like, I can get over it. These are temporary things. But the things I'm trying to get are forever in this dunya and the akhirah.
Yeah.
Right. So subhanAllah.
When the sun rises, the stars to go away.
SubhanAllah.
And so once you have your eye, once you have your
perspective.
Once you're looking at the sun, you can't see stars.
SubhanAllah.
You know?
I have an interesting question for you.
I
got an interesting question. You know, we went beautifully into your story. You know, I remember the first episode you were talking to me about being up, you know, late at night, frustrated over, you know, this issue in pertaining to, you know, the sheikh doing this certain thing in the masjid, and you can't defend or you can't really articulate. And this is when you first started taking the deen more serious. Yeah. And you're saying, I want to learn my religion more. You talking about you wanted to go to Medina, you know, and you, what was the word that you said? Boofus. I introduced you. It was so funny. It stuck out to me. Even when I was editing, I was saying, I'm not going to forget that word. So, you know, reflecting back on, you know, you being in that situation to where you are now, how does that experience of setting your eye on something? And I know, I'm sure that you're saying you have more ambition, but just seeing where you've gotten, you know, how does that feel?
Wallahi, I say alhamdulillah.
SubhanAllah.
I say alhamdulillah, man. And this is all from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because, you know, when I reflect on my experiences, akhi, I know if I planned, or I had plans, and my plans didn't go according to plan.
Right.
ولكن Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala planned for me. And when I look back, I say to myself, alhamdulillah, my plan didn't go according to plan.
Right.
I look back and where I'm at right now, I say alhamdulillah, man. Because it's just amazing, man. Amazing to know what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying to you. You know, there's a reason, you know, I tell the brothers, I said, I like Shuraim for a reason. One of my favorite reciters is Shuraim. And the reason why I like Shuraim is when it comes to ayat, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling a story, Shuraim recites like he's telling a story. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about forgiveness or he's talking about adab, Shuraim knows how to recite those ayats. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about bay' and when he talks about divorce and when he talks about marriage, Shuraim knows how to recite them. When I'm praying behind someone, I can tell whether the person knows what he's reciting or not.
Right.
By the way he's reciting it. You know? Right. And all I can say is, alhamdulillah, I will do it again. Over and over and over again. And ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, wallahi, to keep me steadfast on this path, man, because we've seen a lot of brothers, man, that fell off, akhi.
Right.
We've seen a lot of brothers come back and just be مشغول, busy with the dunya and everything they went through, just they forget it, you know? Right. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala just to keep us steadfast and just to keep going and to have this, because that is only from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can give it to you. Right. You know, Ibn Qayyim rahimahullah ta'ala, he really speaks about the heart. And one of the things that he regurgitates and makes a person understand is whatever you have is from Allah. Al-hidayah is from Allah. And understanding is from Allah. Right? And this knowledge that you have is from Allah. لذلك the Prophet ﷺ says من يرد الله به خيرا من يرد الله به خيرا يفقه في الدين. Whoever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants khair for, He gives them understanding of this religion. And understanding of this religion, Shaykh Idris, like the ulama say, it's not knowing what the religion is talking about. It's al-amalu bihi. It's acting upon the religion. And that's, if somebody can, and he said, Ibn Qayyim rahimahullah ta'ala, he says, if you know what you're doing, if you know the ayats that you're doing, it's easy for you to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
SubhanAllah.
Right? And so this is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, whoever is in Egypt and studying or wants to study or that's not studying, but inshallah, wants to study, always know that this will help you in getting closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
SubhanAllah.
Right?
SubhanAllah. It's beautiful, akhi. Wallahi, subhanAllah, even for me, just hearing your story, and it gives me a lot of motivation because I'm going back as well. And, it's when you see other people who are not only keeping it for themselves, but they're saying, I went through this. Yeah. I want you to be in a better state. I want you to overcome these challenges and avoid these. Yeah. It's amazing, akhi, that you're doing. And I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant you the best in this dunya and the akhirah. For those who are interested, like, what's up for Ustadh Abdullahi now? Like, what are you up to? What are some of your ambitions that you feel comfortable sharing? And how can people get connected with you, akhi? I mean,
I'm in Seattle, akhi. My number one goal now is to, you see this love that I have, to give it to people, right? I want to give back to my brothers. I want to give back to my sisters. I want to give back to my community. I want to teach the people about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I want to teach the people about Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam because we really need it.
For sure.
Right? I want to show the people this is how you study. This is how the scholars studied. This is the salaf that we have. This is this wa ma ila dhalik, right? And akhi, wallahi, I'm here in Seattle. Right, I work as an Islamic studies teacher. One of the best jobs that I have, or that I had in my life, right?
MashaAllah.
Which is to come. I believe what I do is not work for me. It's an activity. I just get paid for it.
Right.
We have another struggle, which is, yes, we can teach the deen.
Right.
But the brothers, when they were hiring me, they said to me, they said, listen, we also want you to make the kids fall in love with the deen. And so that's my mission. I want people to be proud of their Muslim identity.
Sorry.
Show the people, you are a Muslim and you have a ni'mah that a lot of people don't have, which is al-iman.
Sorry.
And to show the people that when it comes to living a lifestyle, the Islamic lifestyle is the best. So that's my mission in Seattle. That's what we're doing. We're trying to pump out da'wah. We're trying to network with the brothers and do things a little bit different, right? Where everybody's involved, inshallah.
Inshallah, that's amazing. And so I've seen you at various masajid. I know you go to different masajid, but which ones do people tend to find you here in the Seattle area?
So I teach at MAIF Wednesdays and Thursdays.
Okay.
Inshallah, there will be classes starting Abu Bakr soon.
Okay.
Either for classes or we're still talking about that.
Right.
OBK, there's going to be classes starting. There's this one book that I'm going to start. It's called Bawa'ith al-Khalas min al-Dhunub. It is the how to stay away from sins, or how to get rid of sins. That's going to start soon, inshallah, around like October.
Okay.
And so we're just working. There's going to be seminars coming up, courses coming. So we're just trying to, create, and then, once we create the momentum, just maintain it and just have this thing where people study now. When, every Friday I try to do a lecture. Every Saturday I try to do a lecture, and lectures are usually targeted at brothers that want to change their lives or brothers that can improve their lives. And I don't make it in a way where I sit there and I tell people I'm better than you. We're all sinful. This is how we can get, this is how we can come back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Or we are struggling. All of us are struggling in something, and this is the tools that can be made. Or this is the tools that you can use. So that's what we're doing in Seattle, man.
That's amazing, akhi. And I'm sure some of those classes are online. And if not, they can find you on your social medias. We'll go ahead and make sure we'll tag that. Ustadh Abdullahi social media contact, inshallah, will be in the description below. I just want to thank you, Akhi, just to be an inspiration, man. I know you don't like us praising you, but I gotta let you know, Akhi, the work that you're doing. For us, younger generation, I know you didn't have a lot of, you went out there to Egypt with nothing, blind. And here you are, inshallah. This is going to be, for me and so many others, kind of a guiding light. So I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to reward your message. And I look forward to following your journey.
Inshallah. Allah yabarak. Jazakallah khair, man. Wallahi, once again, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you, Shaykh. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, wallahi, give you everything that you wanted from Egypt. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless his podcast and he's reaching the people and everything. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it a means for you to enter Jannah. And the other brother as well, Abdi. And give him my salams, inshallah.
Most definitely. He's going to love this episode.
Allah yabarak.
Inshallah. Anyways, I really thank you. And I thank those listeners who have tuned in this wonderful discussion. MashaAllah, immensely beneficial. Go ahead and share it to those who you feel like may benefit. People who are curious about studying in Egypt. And make sure you guys go ahead, like, share, and subscribe. And go check out Ustadh Abdullahi on Instagram and his other social medias. And we'll see you guys on the other side, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.